Today I'm going to show you an excellent technique, one which used with the Lagna chart, the D1 chart, will give you excellent results.
Please like my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and please press the bell icon so that you get to know when my latest video has come. And to learn more and to find a video relevant to you, please do check out my videos list.
Hello, namaskar and adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan. Once more with you from your very own channel, Astro Assurance. We have also discussed many of the techniques to use different kinds of lagnas. One of my earlier videos, I think more than a year back I made, was how to use the Dasha Lagna. That means whichever planet's Dasha is on, you convert the chart to the Lagna of that and then you use that particular chart to see the results or the ensuing results or the potential results during that period, during that particular Dasha. Now, one of the ways to validate and also to complement, in some ways even to supplement results of the Dasha Lagna, it is a good thing to use the Navamsa Dasha Lagna, which means whichever the Dasha of the planet is, convert the Lagna from that place wherever the planet is placed. So if Mercury Dasha is on, so you can convert the D1 chart, the Lagna chart to Mercury's ascendant and use that chart from there. However, to validate the results and to know whether there is a stronger potential, whether you get the results or not, is to see where Mercury is placed in the Navamsa chart and then convert that into the Lagna and see results from there. You will find a lot of insight, you will find a lot of potential, you will find a lot of finer disseminations which you will be able to get insight from. So in many of my consultations, especially when I see certain characteristics of the person, when I see that certain things, certain results the person may not be getting, when I'm looking at purely from the D1 chart, I do take a lot more help from the D9 chart, lot more help from the Navamsa chart. The reason being is the Navamsa chart is a finer dissemination of the D1 chart. And I've said many times, the D1 chart should not be used alone. Neither should the D9 chart be used alone. They should be seen in congruence with each other. So let's get in and see one person's chart where a lot of overlap is there. A very, very interesting chart. This is a close friend of mine. I know since many, many years. And I'm also going to meet her maybe in another 10-15 days time somewhere in the Middle East on a request to meet some friends. And if I'm there, and if I'm there for a few more days, I'm there for 3-4 days. If I'm there for a longer period, then I may even put a post if I find time and maybe meet some of you like I did a few years back. So let's jump in and see the chart of this person and see how her Navamsa Lagna, from her Dasha Lagna perspective, throwing up new, fresh perspectives to her life and also giving her certain potentials which has used or helped her in many of her different results in her life, different areas of her life as well. Now, this is the chart of this friend of mine. I'm using the Jagannath Hora because it's easier to play around with this app to be able to see the Lagna from different planets, different houses. So her name is something else, but I call her Christy because it's a personal name, a nickname which I share, which I've given her. Her name is something else, but she didn't want me to use her original name, her actual name. So I'm using this nickname of her, Christy. So I'll be calling her Christy during this video. So she was born on February 6th, 1980. in Singapore city at 10:55 a.m. So let's see how some of the results of her life have come by both from her D1 chart and her Navamsa chart. So now this is her ascendant in the D1 chart. Her ascendant, as you see, is that of Leo. And she has 3 planets which are retrograde. Mars is retrograde, Jupiter is retrograde, Saturn is retrograde in the 2nd house, and in a Vij dosha with Moon. Ketu and Mercury are placed in the 7th house, Sun is in the 6th house, and Venus is exalted in the 8th house. Now, if you see, her Moon is in the nakshatra of Hasta itself. So, her birth nakshatra lord is also Moon, which is placed in the 2nd house. So, she was born in Singapore. However, post-marriage, she left to the US to be with her husband. Now, why did she go abroad to be with a husband. If you see, the seventh lord is Saturn. Now Saturn is placed in the second house. However, Saturn is placed in the second house with the 12th lord, Moon. So this is important because Moon is also her birth nakshatra lord. That's why this dissemination becomes stronger as well. Now, which nakshatra is Saturn placed in? Saturn is placed in the nakshatra Uttara Falguni, ruled by Sun. And Sun is also placed in Saturn's own sign in the 6th house, while Sun rules the Lagna. This is another important dissemination why she married her husband and went abroad. The other thing is her Venus is in the exaltation in the Pisces sign. So she gets exalted results post her marriage and she goes abroad to be with her husband, and she is a psychiatrist, clinical psychiatrist, and she practices. So she was earlier in the US, but I told her to be careful at the start of a Jupiter Dasha. She was having a lot of problems with her husband, and if you can see that her 7th lord Saturn is retrograde in a Vish dosha and in the Virgo sign. The Virgo sign is the natural 6th house as well. And Saturn is the 7th lord Saturn is in the nakshatra belonging to Sun, and Sun is in the 6th house. This is another challenge which occurred between the two. Third, Ketu is in the 7th house and with Mercury. So she has very analytical ability. She is very, I keep telling her, she's a bit complaining. She finds a lot of fault in her husband, and she agrees to that also. So which eventually led to her marriage coming undone. And this happened when you look at her dashas. So in her dashas, she was in the last phase of Rahu and Mars. Rahu and Mars was in between 2013 and 14. So that's when in the 34th year, last bit of 34th year, husband filed for divorce, and in her Jupiter Dasha, Maha Dasha, the marriage collapsed. So I think end of 2014 or beginning of 2015, the marriage collapsed. And post that, after she was in the US, then she moved to the UK, and now she's in the UK. She's practicing. She's a clinical psychiatrist there. She practices there. Now, one of the things which I told her many years back, and she keeps calling me for various things, is that she will find a very changed approach to her life when she gets into the Jupiter Dasha. So why did I tell her that she will have a different approach in a Jupiter Dasha? Not just because of her relationship, but also her career, her work. Why? One of the reasons being is Jupiter is also her 8th lord and placed in the Lagna. So because of that, she is a clinical psychiatrist also. However, Jupiter's own nakshatra is also Purva Falguni. Purva Falguni is a nakshatra ruled by Venus, and Venus is exalted in the 8th house. Venus also rules the 3rd house of communication, consulting, doing your own work. That's why she has her own practice. So she initially, when she used to get in touch with me, it was for consultation. Later on, she became a good friend. She has a lot of interest in the occult, in palmistry, in numerology, in astrology. So she would keep calling me for various things. So initially, I didn't tell her why. I told her that during Jupiter Dasha, she will find a very big change in also approach to her career. The reason being is, even before the Jupiter Dasha started, if you see, Jupiter Dasha started for her almost at the end of 2014. But about 2 years before that, she has started to talk more about, and she was in the last phase of her marriage and she was very disturbed. So her husband also got the custody of her son, but she was very disturbed and she used to call me again and again. She used to live alone and she was very troubled. Now, one of the things I've seen is that when you are in any profession, for example, if you're a doctor, you do specialization in one area. The reason is because you're supposed to serve in that area. So, for example, you may become a dermatologist, you may become an ophthalmologist, you may become somebody who is a neurologist, somebody who may be you may be a pediatrician. So you take up some particular mastery and then you serve clients or patients more in that. If you're a dentist, you look at up to the teeth. If you're an ENT specialist, you look at ENT. So you take a specialization. So what happens with us astrologers also, when we look at a certain pattern astrologers will also get a certain pattern of people. We get similar kind of people, we get similar profile also of people. So for example, I get a lot of relationship issues, many relationship issues and career related issues. I get a lot of people who are also having mental challenges. They have depression, they have afflictions, they don't want to be people, they are isolated, number of people. And I get similar profile of people. So if you look at this particular person, Saturn and Moon in which dosha, I have many clients who have Saturn and Moon connections also. In Scorpio, in Libra, in various places. So I get similar pattern of people also. So when you have similar pattern of people, you also get specialized in a certain area and you are able to look closely into them. So for me, over the last 7 or 8 years, I've started to specialize in health related astrology. And a few weeks back, if you remember, I'd also asked for profiles related to mental affliction also. So that's why I'm sharing this with you, because this lady is somebody who started using astrology as part of a clinical consultation also, because she was interested in that. And then in the last phase of her Rahu Dasha, I told her, why don't you look at this aspect and you will be able to help people more. So initially she brushed it off. However, in the last part of her Rahu Dasha, she started to talk about it. And in the Jupiter Dasha, she started to utilize this more and more. So she has been using it over it for the last 10 years and she's got excellent results. And why the Jupiter Dasha? If you see, Jupiter is in the Lagna. So in a Jupiter Dasha 2014, she started to get results, but she didn't get that kind of excellent results which initially she was supposed to get. However, from a Jupiter and Venus period, she started to get excellent results. Now, why was she getting excellent results during Jupiter and Venus period? Let's see. So let's see that this is the ascendant in the Navamsa chart, which is the Aries. But if you change the Lagna to the Jupiter Dasha, so if you convert this to the Jupiter Dasha, for example, and show the chart from this, so your Jupiter gets into the Lagna. However, here you will find in the Navamsa, it is a very clear dissemination of she getting divorced, because in her Jupiter Dasha, which she got divorced in, her 7th Lord Saturn is retrograde and in the 6th house. So this is a strong placement. Second, her Ketu goes in the 4th house where domestic life is breaking up, which is also validated by the D1 chart, but the Navamsa chart is a stronger dissemination of her getting into a divorce and moving away from her husband. Second thing, if you see that her Venus, her 10th Lord is in the 10th house, and with Sun, which is the Lagna Lord. So Lagna Lord goes into the 12th house of foreign lands. The 10th Lord Venus goes into the 10th house of foreign lands. So this is another very strong dissemination. And if you look at where a Venus is placed in which nakshatra, you will find that a Venus is placed also placed in Purva Falguni, which is its own nakshatra. So very strong placement. Sun is placed in the Shravana nakshatra, which is the nakshatra of Moon. And Sun is also in the Cancer sign in the 12th house. So that's why her Lagna Lord getting into the Cancer sign in the nakshatra ruled by Moon. That's why she serves patients abroad in a foreign land. That's why her profession is getting connected to the 12th house of secretary issues, problems, and also 8th house of occult. Jupiter getting into the Lagna, consulting people, utilizing both the psychiatry as well as the occult forces. So during her Jupiter Dasha, when you convert the Navamsa Lagna into the Jupiter Lagna, where Jupiter is placed, then you can see the 9th Lord, Mars, gets into the 2nd house. This is a very strong, powerful placement. One, she may also get married during this phase, during a Jupiter Dasha. And second marriage may happen during the Jupiter Dasha. Secondly, her Mars 9th Lord getting into the 2nd house, which means she starts to use her imagination, her creativity. What is the creativity? Using Jupiter 8th Lord in her Lagna as a consultant, as a guide. Using her imagination. Moon is a known nakshatra, remember, mind you, of Hasta. And Mars, the 9th Lord and the 4th Lord getting into the 2nd house. So she uses her imagination, she uses a higher learning. The 9th house is also the house of spirituality, higher learning. So she uses the higher learning of astrology and uses that to consult people. Why she is helping people, sick people, afflicted people? Because Mars is in the sixth sign of Virgo, in the second house of earning, while also being the fourth lord. So fourth lord Mars getting into the second house while also being the ninth lord. So going far away from a place, using the high learning, religious learning also, which is also astrology, which comes from, as you know, the ancient sages. And her fourth lord Mars getting into the second house in Virgo. So what she has done is, in the UK she has a house. She doesn't live in an apartment, she lives in a house. So the front portion of the house, 2 rooms, she has converted that into a clinic. So she sees patients at a clinic. And so the first 2 rooms of a house she has converted into a clinic, and the rear portion of that house is where she has a home. So this is a strong connection. Secondly, you can see when you use the Jupiter Lagna, Rahu is in the 10th house, and that's when in the 3rd or 4th year of her Jupiter Dasha, and if you go back to Jupiter, you will find that when a Jupiter Ketu started, she moved away from US and she moved into the UK. So in a Jupiter Ketu Dasha, her home got broken up and her home got displaced because Ketu got activated, and Ketu is placed in the Scorpio sign of change. Scorpio sign is also the sign of spirituality and occult. 8th house dissemination. So Scorpio sign Lord Mars getting into the sign of Virgo, healing, serving people. And Mars, if you know, Mars is also healer, ruler of the Aries sign, and it has the nakshatra of Ashwini, which is also the nakshatra of 100 healers. So helping people in the change and helping people to serve people. While 7th Lord Saturn is also in the 6th house and retrograde. So this is the reason why during her Jupiter Dasha, she had this dissemination, she had this. So she used to joke with me. I mean, she's a good friend. So she used to joke with me that we should get married, after the 3rd or 4th year of her getting divorced. And I used to tell her that your Saturn is retrograde, your Jupiter is retrograde, your Mars in Lagna, your Ketu in the 7th house, and your Navamsa, at least your married life is really bad. Why would I get married to you? So I used to joke with her. Anyways, so she's a good friend. So a number of other results can also be seen from a career, from foreign land settlement, to marriage going south, for moving a home, to her being running her own business, because the second lord Mercury is in the 3rd lord of communication, Mercury, analysis, healing, and in a mutual aspect with Moon. Moon is also birth nakshatra lord. A number of factors can be seen when you convert in a Jupiter Dasha, especially a number of factors coming good. And that's why all these things which I suggested to her and told her these may come by also came back to her. So friend, this is the way you should be able to use the Dasha planet in the Navamsa, converting that into the chart, into the Lagna, and seeing results from there. You should also validate that from the D1 chart, the Lagna chart also, so that you're able to see the final dissemination and a higher potential or the results coming back to you. So friends, like this video, share this video. If you're looking for a personal consultation for me, please reach out to me at the link given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend Astrology and Guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.